Arizona Republican Senator, former presidential candidate John McCain. He's chairman of the Armed Services Committee, so first chance to respond to that. Senator, what do you make of that?
The attacks are his not coming back to the United States.
What do you think of that? That they say he should, his critics are saying he should be back.
Well, he should be, but the fact is that if he came back, very little would change, because it's very clear that the president does not view this threat with any seriousness. Otherwise, he would not have let it grow, metastasize. Look, this is not like an earthquake or a tsunami. This is a result of the failed foreign policy and national security policy of this president, who wanted to get out of all wars and either didn't realize or didn't care that wars don't stop when you get out. And he made several key decisions along the way, which gave birth to ISIS, which then gave birth to these attacks and the metastasizing of ISIS. Mike Morrell, deputy CIA, just in the last few days, said they're winning, we're not losing. And some who are viewing now will not agree with this, but we have to go into Raqqa and we have to kill them, and it has to be Americans, but a small number of Americans and a large coalition of Sunni Arab countries to go in. Otherwise, you will see further attacks, not only in Europe, but in the United States of America. And it's not that we're doing nothing. It's that nothing we are doing is really changing the status of ISIS and the threat they pose to the United States of America. And that's all because of this president's failed policies.
Now, the president argues that there's nothing to be gained by suddenly leaving Cuba right now, saying that doing so would have played right into the terrorist hands. What do you make of that?
Oh, look. He views this as some kind of triumph, even though that he was dissed at the airport, and obviously Raul had very different views about what democracy is all about and what the nation is all about. By the way, I hope that they send you right away those lists of the political prisoners that need to be released. It's a charade, and him being down there while this is going on, I think, is sort of a metaphor for the way that this president has addressed a real emergency such as this one.
You know, I'm thinking in your state, Arizona, of course, we have very long lines at voting polls, of course, for the primary today, a primary that has been looking at Donald Trump polling very, very well. I'm wondering if issues like this would happen in Brussels, and a candidate who keeps espousing tightening our borders, closing off our borders, the Mexicans building a wall, going slow on allowing Muslims into this country. What do you think of all that?
Well, I think I can understand why we have to, and we do have to have screening of people who are coming to this country, particularly those who may have come from those parts of the world. But you're not going to build a wall to keep these people out if they've got a base in Raqqa. You've got to have a strong NATO, not one that Mr. Trump wants to dismantle. You have to have strong alliances, and yes, we spend more money than our European friends do, but these people are a direct threat to the United States, and NATO is one of the important, very important organizations. By the way, it's the one that won the Cold War. So building a wall around America, I'm sorry to tell you, just like the Great Wall of China didn't work a couple of thousand years ago, we have to go after the enemy. And we have to do it with our allies and friends, and we have to have the Sunni Arab countries play a very big role. But right now we have a terrorist organization with a base and a state that is orchestrating terror and sending terrorists into the flow of refugees who will eventually get to the United States if we don't take them out.
You know, Mr. Trump has echoed again that the Russians, even though they've all but pulled out of Syria, they've always entertained the possibility they could re-enter Syria, but he has welcomed their efforts to take out ISIS and saying if they want to do it, fine, let them do it. What do you say?
That's it. The only problem with that is they aren't taking out ISIS. They're taking out the moderates. They're taking out the people that we are armed and trained and equipped. And yes, he has reduced his forces, but he has solidified his position in the Middle East in a way that the Russians haven't had since Anwar Sadat threw him out of Egypt in 1973. So Vladimir Putin is succeeding. By the way, you will see a ratcheting up of the conflict in Ukraine now that he is gotten most of his goals achieved in Syria. So all I can say is that Vladimir Putin has helped the Iranians, he has helped Hezbollah, and he has established his position and propped up Bashar Assad, and none of that can be in the United States' interests.
Senator, as we're speaking here, we're getting word of a partial evacuation at Denver International Airport. Includes the west side of the main terminals. We don't know anything more outside of a possible security threat there. These things happen a lot, so hopefully it's nothing more than just a mistaken threat. But it is what it is. Heightened concern ahead of the busy Easter travel season. As someone who's known duress and dealt with duress and known the psychological fear, just advise Americans on how to deal with all this.
Well, I think we have to convince the American people that we are taking the necessary action to prevent those things from happening, and right now that's not the case. As I mentioned, it's not we're doing nothing, but nothing that we have done has really restrained in any way the activities of Baghdadi and ISIS. And these attacks will continue, and there will be more San Bernardinos if we don't go in and take them out. We have a lot of work to do, a whole lot of work to do, but the first step has got to be to kill them where they are instead of them coming to the United States and killing us where we are.
Senator John McCain, thank you very, very much.
Thank you.